Cast.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Have you checked the children?
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Boogeyman is real, and you found him.
Don't you blame the movies! Movies don't create psychos! Movies make psychos!
Everybody, welcome back to Slasher Cast, the podcast brought to you by the Slasher Cast Podcast Network and my YouTube channel, Slasher Media. As always, welcome back. And today, everybody, well, this has been a while. When was the last episode? 5 years ago. But yeah, as I did say on Twitter, my Discord, and basically everywhere else, I've been looking for new hosts. I found 3. I only expected to find 1, but I found 3. But today only 1 could join us. So everybody say hello to Mori.
Hello.
Nice intro. Well done.
Oh, thank you so much.
First podcast is always fucking weird.
Absolutely, yeah. Have never done one before.
I have... How many have I got? I've got 2.
2.
Actually, technically 3 now. Because me and Raccoon do one about true crime. But yeah, today, guys, we are going to, obviously, since it's Mori's first, we're just going to ramble. Talk horror, probably for 40 or some minutes. I do have a quiz I want to start with that I made with the help of ChatGPT to ask. But yeah, so we're gonna start with the quiz, and then we'll go into like talking about our experience with horror and our favourites and all that fucking other shit. Okay, question 1. In Scream 6, name the killers.
Ooh, Scream 6. Oh god. I'm trying to remember exactly. This is funny since I'm a Scream fan, but like Scream 2, you know. Scream 6. Who's the main headline actor for Scream 6?
As in, like, Survivor?
Just as in, like, who's one of the name, like, main actors?
Sam.
Sam.
Oh, actors. Melissa Barrera.
Shit. I'm drawing a blank on this one. It's been a while since I've watched Scream 6.
Are you skipping?
Yeah, I'll skip that one for now.
The killers in Scream 6 are Ethan Landry, Quinn Bailey, and Detective Bailey.
Oh, you know what? For some reason, I was thinking there were 7.
No, but there's 3 killers in Scream 6.
Yeah, because I was actually thinking, I was like, if this is 7, then 6 would be the first one that Jenna Ortega, starred in. And for those ones, I can never remember, except for,
Scream 5 is...
yeah.
Scream 5 was 2 killers. Scream 6 was the first one that ever had, like, more than 2.
Especially after they, like, teased us for months and made people thinking that somehow Stu was going to come back.
Take a guess, how many kills does Jason Voorhees have in total from all movies combined, including Freddy vs. Jason and the 2009 remake? This does not include Final Chapter, since in Final Chapter, that wasn't Jason, that was some guy pretending to be Jason.
And
so,
then, technically, are we counting the first movie as well, then?
No.
Well, since, okay.
No. Right, I should specify only Jason kills.
Okay. I would say there's
give me a closest guess.
14 of these things, or like somewhere in the ballpark.
There's 13.
13. And based on the fact that usually it seems like there's like between 5 and like 10, kills probably per movie, I would say 82.
You are not close at all.
Not close at all, damn it.
You're somewhat close, but you're really low.
I'm really low? Oh!
You are
see,
low.
so my second guess would then be like 130.
I'll give you it. It's 163.
Oh, damn. Okay, which movie is he dropping a ridiculous, kill count on?
Hang on. There's a bunch of like websites that I tried to use to find out how many kills there were, and all of them gave me different numbers.
Oh.
Right, the movie Psycho from 1960 was the first American film to show a toilet being flushed on screen. True or false?
Ooh, so Psycho itself being a pretty old movie in general.
So was Psycho the first ever movie to show a toilet being flushed?
I want to say yes, but honestly, the only thing I can really think of when I think of the Psycho is just the shower scene itself. So
it is true.
It is true. Nice.
You got that right. Yeah, it's the first ever film to actually have a toilet be flushed. In the movie Get Out, what is the name of the eerie medical procedure that transfers one person's consciousness into another body? A, the sealing. B, the transfusion. C, the coagula. Or B, the amalgamation. I can't fucking say that word.
I'm going to say it was C, coagula.
That is correct. So far, you are 1, 2, 3 correct out of 10.
I have to counteract you with a question. Do you remember the inspiration for Jordan Peele's Get Out?
No, I'm fading a blank on that.
It was when he was younger, he saw Eddie Murphy stand up. And in that stand up, there was like a whole kind of bit that he did that was actually the inspiration for it.
Well done. You learn something new every day. The 2017 movie Hereditary contains no CGI effects. True or false?
Well, Ari Aster is very good at what he does, especially I'd say I don't think even Midsummer had very many CGI effects, necessarily like straight CGI. Well, okay, like the face and the things. I'm gonna say no CGI.
False. There was CGI, but he used it sparingly.
Okay.
So probably I would say most of it is practical.
Which would make sense because even with like Midsummer, I'm pretty certain. Well, Midsummer, there's definitely a couple CGI.
In the Babadook, what is the Babadook primarily manifested as? A ghost, B, a shadow, C, a children's book, or D, a doll?
Ooh, I'm sorry between children's book and doll. I want to say as the children's book.
Correct. Which character is the sole survivor in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I can see her face. Name, though.
It's the character that they give the buggy wide shot of the ass to.
See, that's the problem, is that's how they distract you. I can't think of her name. Because every time I want to say something like Lori, but I'm like, no, that's our Halloween.
Sally Hardesty. Hardesty. I think that's how you say it. In the original The Omen from 1976, had true or false, did they have a real priest bless the set to prevent any bad luck?
Yes.
Yes, they did. Probably because of Exorcist. Who directed... You probably already know this is easy. Who directed Hereditary and Midsommar?
Oh, Ari Aster.
What is the name of the demon in The Exorcist? A, Pazuzu, B, Azazel, C, Beelzebub, or D, Belial?
Honestly, the silliest of all demon names, Pazuzu.
It is Pazuzu. That's a stupid fucking name for a demon.
Absolutely. It sounds like an
1,
instrument
2,
you'd play.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, You got 8 out of 10.
Oh, not bad. See, I felt like I was sucking massively.
You only got 1, 2 wrong.
Nice.
Right, onto the mess that is this podcast.
Hey, I love a good
Right. I'll start it off with a question. Tell me what got you into horror and all that stuff.
So what got me into horror? So as a kid, I was an absolute scaredy cat. Let's just preface that immediately. I was forced to watch Child's Play. I was also forced to watch Tim Curry's It and Jeepers Creepers at a young age, which left me like completely terrified. But it was roughly just before getting into high school when I actually rewatched it on my own. And just it was the mixture of the almost silliness that Tim Curry brought to the role, as well as just the overall like unhingedness, I guess, of this kind of extra dimensional kind of clown monster that's feasting on people's fears. That I realized, like, wait a second, this is fantastic. I love this. And ever since then, like, clowns are like one of my favorite tropes and like things possible. And from there, that's when I started rewatching horror movies and getting overall into horror.
For me, I think it was. Well, my introduction was Nightmare. The first Nightmare on Elm Street, and that film did scare the shit out of me as a kid because scary ass fucker with knives in my dreams. Yeah, I don't want that. But really, what cemented horror for me was Halloween, and then Scream, and then so on and so on. But obviously, given my name, I'm a slasher guy. I prefer slashers over probably any other subgenre. What's your favorite subgenre?
My favorite subgenre would either be slashers as well, since Scream 2 is my favorite of all horror in general.
Why is Scream 2 your favorite? Why is 2 of all of them?
Part of it is because of the whole joke that there the very few sequels that improve upon or do better than the original, like that kind of whole trope.
Actually, to be fair, I'm so glad they did say Scream 3, or we were about to have problems.
Exactly, but also I think one of my favorite kills was when they're in broad daylight and they're on the phone and they're like kind of catching on like oh shit, he's in trouble, and he gets scooped up right in that van, right, like right there, right at the news. It was the news.
I can't believe they killed Billy off, and it fucking annoyed me when I first watched it and got into Scream, and I found out that they killed Randy off. Yeah. I was so mad. I was like, why would you do that to such a popular character?
And I think it was definitely their idea of trying to show, like, hey, nobody's safe. Like,
but then how many times has Sidney, Gale, Dewey survived? The amount of times that Dewey was stabbed and survived was ridiculous.
Well, eventually they got him, How did it go? Was it like Sheriff Dewey? It was an honor.
Yeah, Killer goes. It was something like it's an honor, or something like that. It was one of those, and then fucking stabs him twice with 2 knives. But I do like his line though, where it says like, "Cause Sam's like, who gives a fuck?" And he says, "I do." So he's like, you've got to make sure that you kill them or they're just going to get in your way. I think, for me, Scream's one of those franchises that no matter what, if they come out with a bad film, it's still good.
Absolutely.
So even Scream 3 is the worst one out of them all. I still like it. I still have fun with it, even though it's not a good Scream movie.
Yeah.
Because the film plays off like there's two killers, and yet there's one. Because I think the original idea was to have one of the actresses from I think it was her who in the Stab film was playing Sydney. She was meant to actually be one of the killers, but I think something happened, or something that changed the plan for it. Scream 2 is a different case, because Scream 2 would have been a completely different movie, but because someone leaked the script for Scream 2, so they couldn't. So when that script got leaked, I think that's when they changed it, and I think the original idea was really weird.
What was the original idea?
Let me have a look. What was the original story? Scream 2. The original story for Scream 2 involved a copycat killer targeting survivors of Woodsboro Massacre at the fictional Windsor College in Ohio. The story takes place 2 years after the film and follows Sidney Prescott, Nev Campbell, and other survivors as they're targeted by the killer, who uses the disguise of Ghostface. The movie begins with the stabbing deaths of a couple in a theater by an assailant wearing the same black robe. That still happened. Intentionally. Kevin Williamson, the writer behind the Scream franchise, intentionally leaked dummy plot scripts for Scream 2 to throw people off the scent. He and Wes Craven always intended Miss Loomis and Mickey to be the killers. Okay, actually, no, never mind then. There wasn't an original script. It's just that they leaked.
They were baiting.
They baited everybody.
Nice. Yeah, when I was looking up a little bit, I realized that so apparently that writer, the original creator, he wrote the Scream 1, Scream 2, and Scream 4. And then went on and apparently is the one behind the next Scream movie. So then I guess the question is really, so here's my issue is honestly Scream 4, I almost completely forget the point of that. Like that one just is completely gone from my mind. And it's not be like an intentional thing, mind you.
The only problem with Scream 2 for me is that Mickey, like you can tell Mickey was one of them straight away because he just disappears for like half of the film.
Yeah.
His last scene before his reveal is him in the hospital, and then after that, he just disappears.
Yeah, they definitely didn't do as good a job of kind of making you guessing as, say, the original Scream with it. How'd you feel about how they showcased the killers in Scream 7 or 6? Sorry, still thinking about that 7th one that's being worked on. 6. Like, how quick would you say you realized who each of them was as the killer?
In the new ones or all of them?
The new one.
Scream 5. I think Scream 5. I was like, kind of like, yeah, it's definitely going to be the boyfriend. I think the one that I didn't see coming was Amber. I think that was the one that I didn't think.
Yeah, especially the height difference in the strength, things like that.
But I also didn't think it was going to be him either, because Jack Quaid, I don't think I've ever seen him in a role where he's played a villain. So to see him play this character, it was really cool, and I want to see him play more characters like that. So I think he can do really well in that type of role, and I think he got his start in horror because of Tragedy Girls and all this other stuff. But he's such a good actor. Amber, her actress is such a really good actress. I think she does really well. Scream 7. Not 7, 6. 7's not been out yet. I think for me, I didn't see. For me, when it came to Ethan Landry, I was kind of on the fence of like, is it him or not, because of the whole thing that he, some reason, came off. It's like they were pointing towards him as the killer.
Yeah.
But they were also trying to tell us, oh no, it's not him. And then they were trying to tell us, it is him. It's not him, it is him. And then Quinn, with her, I thought maybe, but then she died, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not her then. And then we find out that was fake, so fuck me then. The dad, because I thought there were only 2 killers.
Yeah.
So I was only expecting 2 killers. So I wasn't thinking of a third. But then when we find out that it's the cop, I was like, oh, so they're going 3 killers this time. I was like, that's interesting.
And I like that because, yeah, it was kind of unexpected, and I think that was what they're.
I think one of my favourite lines in the entire film is when that character at the beginning says, we've got to finish the movie, and the fucking Ghostface goes, who gives a fuck about movies?
It definitely changes it up. I will say, when it goes to Scream, Scream 5, I had a hard time imagining Quaid as, as Richie to be the killer, because at this point, I had only really been familiar with him in The Boys. So in my brain, I'm like, oh, he's really good. And then when I saw him, I was like, oh, he's actually.
Well, I think
really nice
the first thing I saw him in was The Boys, but then I heard of a lesser known horror film he was in called Tragedy Girls, and I watched that, and I really enjoyed that film, and that was before The Boys, and he's really good in it. And then he voices Superman in the animated show, and in My Adventures with Superman he voices him, and I think he does really well in that. And then the fact that he's good in a lot of these films, I think he definitely has range. He could play a villain, he could play a hero, and all that. I think he has a lot of range for that type of actor.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Jack Quaid, was his first role, major role in the Hunger Games? Wasn't he the one who threw the spear?
That's the first thing I saw him in. I didn't even know it was him until I found out years later.
I just learned that.
He's the one who gets speared. That was one of his first major roles, was in that film.
And I don't know who told me this. Was it you? Did we talk about this the other day? Because I'm talking in the very last week, somebody gave me that fact.
I think so.
I can't remember the life of me who it was.
I think so, because I was on the kick of watching the new Hunger Games film. The Snit, whatever it's fucking called. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh. Isn't that is that like a prequel one?
Yeah, it's a prequel. Yeah, that one. I remember watching that film, and I was like, it just popped into my head randomly that I found out that Jack Quaid, all of a sudden, was the guy who got speared in the chest. Oh no, was it an arrow or a spear?
I think it was an arrow, because I think, if I remember correctly, he was the one who killed Rue. Actually was the one.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, it's Rue who gets speared.
Yeah,
and then he gets arrowed.
Takes him out.
Yeah, I think that was one of his first roles, and then obviously, for some reason, he's ended up having out of nowhere, he's ended up having a really good career after that.
Yeah, he's just fantastic. I enjoy him. And I think part of it is just because he is so kind of for me, he seems like a scrawny, understandable, but yeah, it's like he's like that scrawny, he's a scrawnier, I wouldn't say necessarily nerd type kind of thing, but I think it's a lot of people relate to him, and he's a really likable guy. and honestly, I liked him in Scream. Though I will say my favorite scene in the 2022 Scream was it was the, if I remember correctly, it even followed Alfred Hitchcock's rule of suspense. Are you familiar with the rule of suspense?
No, I'm not sure.
So Alfred Hitchcock had a rule that he kind of labeled out for the rule of suspense, and the idea was if you have like a dinner party and you show a shot of like a bomb underneath a chair at the dinner party, the idea is that you can tease that no more than like 3 times before the audience, like tease like it's gonna blow up or like kind of build that up. Only more like 3 times before the audience kind of loses interest, like before it loses impact.
I agree with that. I think if I'm showing a bomb in a TV show or whatever, under a table and you don't have that thing go off within 3 times of showing it, I'm just gonna be sat there like, well, this is boring.
Yeah, and I'm having a hard time remember exactly how many times they did it, but it was the guy. Brain, come on here. Let's see if I can. Was it Dylan Minnette?
Oh, were you on about the whole scene of like all those times where he got faked out?
Yeah, all those fake outs. And as I was sitting there in the theater, I was so excited because I'm like, they're doing it. But I can't remember if they actually stuck to 3 or if they intentionally went that step further. There was like 4.
If I remember from when, off the top of my head, the fake outs were, I think one of them was him walking out of the bathroom when he went to the shower.
Yeah.
Let me actually look. Scream 5. How many fake outs were there for Wes? I think one of my favourite scenes in it as well is his like, obviously there's that party scene where they go for Wes, and that what they intentionally named his character Wes so that they could have a scene where it's like for Wes, but it's like it's for Wes, but it's also for Wes Craven,
which is really nice. Yeah, and like that entire scene. So as soon as I caught onto that, I loved it. A person I went and seen that movie with, they Scream was also their favorite franchise. They preferred Scream 1, and anything outside of Scream 1 and 2 to them were all massive failures of Scream movies, which I thought was like, we would get into arguments over that because I'm like, no, don't you get it? Like that's one. That's like the whole point of the franchise. And just watching Scream, because I saw Scream for my birthday. It was like, I think it was like January 14 of 2022 when I watched it. Like,
so the fake outs are he opens the bathroom door, no one there. Then he goes downstairs into the kitchen to set the table for dinner for him and his mum. Then I think we do get a scene of her rushing to him. He opens, I think one of them is he opens the fridge and you think something's going to happen, nothing does. Then I think one of them is he opens a cupboard and nothing happens. Then I think he walks, and then I think there is a 4th one, because I think he opens, because that's when his mum's killed. See, his mum died before he does. I think he opens the front door and no one's there. And then when he closes it, Ghostface pops out.
Yes. Yeah, and I enjoyed that so much.
I think they did that intentionally to be like, you can still have suspense with more than 3 times. Because I think that worked, because I was on edge of my seat during that entire scene.
Yeah. And I think does his mom does Judy die before that, or is she like just like too late?
No, he dies after. Yeah. He dies after, like shortly after, because she gets there and Ghostface kills her outside the front door. Right. But
he just doesn't know. He's just busy doing his thing.
I think when he walks out. I think when he walks out of the house, I think Ghostface has moved her body but I think he dies after, because I think Ghostface moved her body because like all of a sudden she's dead, and then she's not there when he opens the door, and then I think Ghostface gets in somehow. I'm not sure how he gets in the house. So like somehow he's already in the house.
Was it the back door?
Maybe, possibly.
And and so overall, like that to me, I love that movie. It was so good. Now Scream was.
I also
want to
say they cancelled the Chucky TV show. Excuse me.
They did. They canceled it.
Yeah, it's been cancelled.
What?
But
wasn't it doing really well?
Last season didn't really do that well. From that on, because I didn't agree with that cliffhanger of an ending. Cause that was not it for me. That was just weird.
Sci-Fi canceled it.
I think, and also, Killer Comes from Outer Space game have had Don Mancini as a survivor and Elvira as a survivor.
For which?
For the Killer Comes from Outer Space game.
Nice. See, I meant to get into it and everything. I just haven't. Really
I pre-ordered it.
Into it. Nice. How is it? Do you like it?
I thought it was good. Yeah, I just haven't played it in a while. It's weird, but also
Rush
very
Week
fun.
on TCM may have come out. I want to say I saw Wes Keltner.
Our friends at, I know my friend Riley from the podcast network. He's played it, but I think he played it early.
Okay. Now, Scream 6. What was your favorite scene in that movie?
Scream 6. I think for me, it was, which I like to refer as the nostalgia scene, when they all walk into like the shrine area of all the different things from all the killers.
Oh yeah.
And then there's all the different costumes from the different ghost faces as well. I think one of my favourite scenes though is when Sam puts on her dad's costume.
Yes.
And the cop goes, "Finally giving into your birthright." And the fact that she ran out of nowhere, just stabs him a bunch of fucking times over and over again, that was brutal to watch. And I've kind of always thought, because if I remember, the idea for because Wes Craven did have an idea for Scream 5 before he passed. And I think his idea was to follow Jill. Because I think the idea was that Jill was going to survive Scream 4.
Yeah.
And it was going to be that Sydney lived. I think either it was that Sydney lived or Sydney died. I can't remember. But Jill ends up going to college. And she's obviously she's famous for being the one who survived. And I think it's because actually Sydney does to survive. Sydney's been trying to tell people that it was Jill the entire time, but no one believes her.
Yeah.
I think it was Jill goes to college, and Jill ends up getting phone calls from Ghostface, and Ghostface is like, I know who you really are. So the entire premise of it is a Ghostface against another Ghostface. And I always thought, wouldn't it have been interesting if the whole thing with Melissa Barrera didn't happen? In Scream 7, they had her fully take over the Ghostface mantle, but instead she became like a John Wick style, and she put the costume on to actually kill other Ghostfaces.
Yeah. Which should be really good. Now, I know with there's staffing issues, basically the issues with the writing, the issues of retaining actors, and really one of the biggest weaknesses of the Scream franchise, I think, was their inability or unwillingness to really pay the money to get,
It's not that. Melissa Barrera, the reason why they got rid of her was that she just wanted the end to the genocide in Gaza and everything.
Yeah.
And she was posting it on her social media, and she wouldn't stop doing it, which I commend her for. And because of that, I think it's because she said one thing. She said that the government over there are corrupting stuff, and she was doing like saying all this other stuff and then they got rid of her. It was the studio got rid of her, not the directors. And then obviously the directors of the first two films left, and then they ended up hiring a director for Scream 7 who also left. But then Melissa Barrera proved to me that she belongs in horror for the fact that she was in the vampire film Abigail.
Yes,
and she's fantastic. So she's fantastic in that film. I think she does amazingly, and it just proves to me that she belongs in horror.
Yeah,
to be fair, if anyone's got any balls, cast her in Halloween or something, and basically make a joke of her saying "fuck you, Scream."
It would be fantastic. My favorite scene in Scream 6 was definitely the entire like Gail Weathers in her like penthouse. Just that entire.
I think that was Quinn who did that. I believe it's Quinn who does that.
In terms of what, as in the
who attacks Gail.
I would agree with that.
I think it is Quinn.
I love that dread of like she's there kind of distracted and her boy toy just gets taken out.
Even I found that funny because she didn't give a fuck about that guy's death at all. Yeah. She did not care.
But then she showed like how much she learned over the course of the film she had been in. The way she basically turned on, nearly took out the ghost face, like very nearly.
She needs to stop writing books.
Yeah.
Even though, like, because that's the only thing that annoyed me is the fact that in Scream 5 she goes that those two can die in anonymity. Those fuckers can die in anonymity or whatever. And then next film we learn that she's wrote a book. I'm like, you just ruined one of the best fucking things that Gail's ever done.
True, but I would argue that it's because she kind of that's sort of true to her character, right? Like she probably ran into a time where she's like, I need more money or something.
That punch scene was great.
Yeah. I just love the fact she used the call, like actually hung up and redialed the phone.
Yeah. I was like, how has no one ever done that before? Why has no one thought about doing that?
Yeah, I was just like, oh shit, she's figured it out.
She's figured it out. You just have to redial the phone. Hello? Then you'll know where they are.
And I get that, though. The reason why it hasn't really come up before, because a lot of people, when this stuff is happening, they're freaking out. Like, they're scared. They don't know what to do. Gail has been through it so much that she, at that point, is just like, she's thinking clearly. She's prepared for it. She's like, oh, shit.
Same with, like, Sydney. All of them have been through it so much that they've all learned. Like, the thing is with with the franchise is, it's always, like, being meta about the rules of horror.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the characters doing that stuff, second later, it's always, it's like they do all the rules. They have all these rules in place, but the film knows that for some reason these killers are sticking to the rules of horror, and it makes no sense. But it's just really well done.
But then it does make sense because, especially when you look at the original Scream, being the fact they're trying to make this thing that become become blown up, is they're following the rules to them is what makes a horror movie. You know what I mean? Like they're like, we have to follow these rules because this is what makes the movie.
Yeah. I think over time we have kind of steered away from many of the like the bullshit stuff with horror, like the black person dies first trope, We have definitely got past that type of mentality. Because I've seen a lot of horror now where it's white people, anyone of any ethnicity dying first. But the only time I've seen that where it's happened is if they're making fun of that trope.
Yeah. When I was younger, my friend Austin's stepdad, Tony, he would send out to get like movies and stuff. Well, anyways, one time he had us get, it was, I'm pretty sure it was one of the Lake Placid movies. And we had this whole thing when we'd play like horror together, we'd watch it, and he'd ask like, all right, take bets, who's going to be first to die? Well, I chose, just based on the first couple scenes with one of like the deputy, like animal control or like wildlife conservation people, this African American guy, I was like, he's gonna be the first to die because he did like some really majorly like dumb stuff. And it was funny because they baited it out like going in the water and basically like the alligator like coming in.
I just thought of one of my favorite scenes from Scream 6.
Scream 6? Okay, you can shoot that first and then I'll continue.
I've just seen the clips just showed up on Twitter. It's the one where she drops where Jenna Ortega's character is about to where Tara's about to fall, and she's telling her to let her go. She's telling Sam to let her go. So she passes her the knife, and she drops down, and she shoves the knife into Ethan's mouth. And she says, "Now die a virgin." I think that's one of my favorites. Like, die. I would have said suck on this, but
yeah.
But no, die a virgin. All right.
And so then with that Lake Placid part, basically it was a fake out. But before any of us realized it, I was like, I'm right. And his stepdad started losing. He's like, you've seen this movie before, haven't you? Like you cheated. And then it like complete fake out and ended up being like a high school students on like a bus that get killed first. And it was just like, damn. But I love, like, that was the only like memorable part of that entire film, purely because they looked at that trope, right? And then they subverted it after making it like pretty obvious. Like, okay, this person's made some clearly really bad mistakes, like going in the water, sticking your head in the water in a movie that's all about, you know, a water predator taking things out.
I think I have heard that they are remaking a while back. I have learned that they are remaking Anaconda.
Okay.
And I think Jack Black is one of the people who's going to be in it, along with some. I can't remember who the other actor is.
I think Jack Black would do well on it. I've been a little bit more wary or a little bit more worried about Jack Black's cameos or like roles in some things, just because it feels like
Jack Black and Paul Rudd, the ones who are going to be in it. I think Jack Black, for me, I like the casting him as Steve, but I don't like how it looks. The Minecraft movie looks like dog shit.
Well, just like the Borderlands movie, like I'm never going to see the Borderlands movie if I can help it, because it's just
I've seen clips.
They chose
to cast people who are old, who are supposed to. They've casted people who are older than the characters they're actually playing.
Yeah, and I think the director or one of the people who are producers or somebody must have been related to like the ones who were doing the Jumanji films, because you know they went with Kevin Hart, they went with Jack Black. Like it seemed like they stuck pretty close. And I love Kevin Hart. He was not the right pick for Roland at all by any means. No.
I think the thing is what they like doing is a lot of directors. I know James Gunn is a person who loves to do this. They love to like work with people who they have worked with before and many times, because they know that the person's range and they know they can get along with the person, so they always cast them in roles in their films. Like James Gunn loves working with I think he loves working with everybody from the Suicide Squad films and the he loves working with his wife.
Yeah.
He casts his wife in everything that is in that he directs, and I don't mind it. I think like casting someone is a good choice. I think casting, like working with people who you know, is a good choice.
Yeah. It's just sometimes when it comes to like, say, like the Borderlands movie, it just looks so bad. And first reports I heard of it that first week, it was like, yeah, I'm just never gonna see it.
I was like, I don't need to see it to know it's gonna be bad, because from that first trailer, I was like, yeah, this looks terrible.
Yeah.
There's even in the it's that bad that even in one of the shots of the trailer, you can see. Do you know that scene where they open that like trap door?
Yeah.
You can see the hand of someone helping them open it. Of a cat, and that's a crew member as well, not one of the actors. It's a crew member opening it up.
Yeah, I really respected that. The Borderlands, like actual like Borderlands, the video game, kind of like leader of that like studio or whatever, where they were like they like name dropped, said, oh, we really appreciate your support for our game. And, kind of like along the lines of like, hey, we're not going to disappoint you like this movie did kind of thing,
Yeah.
And not long after that, they kind of like teased the next Borderlands that would be coming out. I'm just like, you know what? That was actually really clever. And it also, I felt like hinted that the developers
so far, the only good movies to come out that are based on video games are the Sonic movies.
They are definitely...
Sonic is the only good ones that I can say for definite that are actually really good.
Are you saying the Far Cry movie doesn't live up to like the hype?
What fucking Far Cry movie?
Oh, let me pull that one up. So you've played the Far Cry games?
Yeah, what Far Cry movie?
So it's literally called Far Cry. It was in 2008. And it's based on, very loosely, off of Far Cry Instincts. Remember, like Far Cry Primal, like
Please tell me this is like a fan movie, not an actual movie.
No, it was an English language German action film.
Oh god,
that's
probably why then.
Google UWE Bull is the guy who made it. It's so bad. It's so awful.
It sounds bad as well. It sounds terrible.
Yeah, and like there's a whole scene in that movie where like they had super soldiers, right? Because the idea is like in the Far Cry Primal, like Far Cry, it's not Far Cry Primal, Far Cry Instincts. Where
see, guys, this is why a podcast is amazing, because you just ramble on for no fucking reason.
Exactly, and like you become more and more like animal-like. You become more like a predator, right? As you get just better. And it's basically like a play off of the original game, but instead it's that weird thing where there's like a scientist trying to develop like super soldier stuff. Well, anyways, they get this super like bleached white skin, like monster kind of like super soldier thing that they have kind of there. And the scientist is trying to like sell his weapon to a government person. They're like, well, is he ready to go? All these things. And the scientist just starts talking mad shit about his own creation. His own creation is like standing right there, and it's technically still a human, just like really. We also get primal.
We get a trailer on Monday for a film that I'm looking forward to. We get the trailer for Nosferatu.
That's gonna be so good because it's
Bill
from the same guy. Yes,
he's playing Count Orlok.
That's going to be so good. I still actually need to watch both The Lighthouse. I need to watch The Lighthouse. I still haven't watched that yet. I love The Witch. I absolutely
love The Witch is so good. And I think that's one of, I can't, what's the actress's name? I always forget her name, but it's one of the films that she's always in, and it's one of the first films that she's played. I can't remember the actress's name. It's killing me.
She was in Queen's Gambit as well, right?
The Witch.
Was it Anya Taylor-Joy?
I think it's Anya Taylor-Joy. She was also in Anya Taylor-Joy. She was also in Split. The Menu. She also plays Furiosa in Mad Max Furiosa, and she was in Last Night in Soho. I love Last Night in Soho. Such a good fucking film.
I have not watched that.
It's really fucking good. I think if you
did you ever watch The Northman?
Yeah, I watched The Northman. For me, for some reason, feels like a horror film.
Absolutely.
It has
Absolutely.
It has aspects of horror films, of horror. It plays off like a vengeance horror, and it does it really well.
Yeah, because I think the reason why it doesn't like fall into that is purely because it is Robert Eggers. He did The Northman.
I think so.
Inside Robert Eggers' epic Viking revenge thriller. I only thought Eggers had just done. I thought he had really just done The Witch in the Lighthouse. I didn't realize he also did The Northman. That's why he has
Rush Week for Texas releases Monday.
It does? Okay, so there was like an early play thing.
And
Excellent.
yeah, it's an early play thing in the minute for certain people. So I'm going to download Texas again, and when that's out, I'm playing it.
Sounds good. Yeah, so yeah, Robert Eggers also did The Northman. That explains why it feels like a horror movie, because he has The Witch, he has The Lighthouse, he has he's doing Nosferatu. Like it's his theme. Like it's how he kind of does things.
It's his thing.
Which also explains the Skarsgård. Yeah, because so Bill Skarsgård's going to be Count Olaf, you said, for Nosferatu.
Yeah.
And used Alexander Skarsgård for The Northman. So it seems like he's comfortable and likes working.
He likes working with the Skarsgård kids, and I don't disagree with him.
They're so good at what they do.
I think the entire family are really good actors, and I want to see Bill Skarsgård in a lot of other stuff. I want to see him in a lot more horror. I know like he keeps playing villains. I wouldn't mind to see him as an actual like hero more than a villain.
I think my issue is it's hard for me to imagine him in a role where that would work. Did you ever watch? It was a TV series.
I know where you're going with this.
With that Bill Skarsgård played in, it was that like almost like weird vampire.
Yeah, I know what you're on about. Yeah, it's Hemlock Grove.
Yes, and so like for me, it's like that is an essence of like his kind of character thing, where he's more of.
It's a weird fucking vampire. They don't even call themselves vampires. They call themselves like something else, and I can't remember what it is.
Yeah,
he was in it. He is a film for you to watch. Okay. Watch Boy Kills World.
Boy Kills World.
That's Bill Skarsgård. Okay. He doesn't talk. He doesn't have lines throughout the movie.
Okay.
But it's the movie that actually made me think that he would be really amazing in The New Crow, because the action in that film is so fucking good.
And have you heard good things about The Crow yet?
I went to see it.
How was it?
I really enjoyed it. Me, Raccoon, they are a massive Crow fan of the original, and I've heard them defend the original so much. Like they were hesitant about the remake, but then when we went to see it and everything, I legit said because I kept saying it's not a remake, even though I've been told many times that it definitely is. I'm like, no, it's not. It's an adaptation. I'm sorry, but the entire movie is completely fucking different to the original. There's no inkling or story of the original. In the film, their last names of the main two characters aren't even mentioned.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is because I remember seeing The Crow when I was a lot younger and everything, and
so I thought the film was really good. I just think the reason why people have given it really low ratings is because they were expecting it to be bad. And I believe in the whole thing of if you're gonna expect a film to be bad, you're gonna go into it saying it's bad.
Yeah,
because you expected it to be bad.
Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, don't remake it," because the headline actor, like, he had passed away before they had finished.
I understand that people are coming from. They could have. I feel like the film would have been better if it wasn't Eric or Shelley. If they did a completely different story of characters, but because it's them two, people just hated on it for no reason.
Which is, like, for me, I think it's silly because it's kind of like when you look at, like, the Joker, right? The Joker villain kind of mantle of Heath Ledger did really great. And his role, I think no one will ever really attain the same, like, that.
It's like every Batman, every new Batman is an adaptation. Every Batman film is not a remake of the last. It's a adaptation of the same character. Same with The Crow. It's an adaptation.
Yeah.
the only way that I say something is a remake if it tells the same story, does the same scenes as this, like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. That is a remake because they added scenes, but the film tells the exact same story and in the exact same way that the original did, but they did it a bit differently. And then with what's it called? With Friday the 13th, I don't call Friday the 13th remake a remake technically because that one is Jason. It's not his mother, and two, the entire film is completely different.
I did so in the Friday the 13th films are my weakest horror franchise of all time because I just never really got into them really. I admit I have only watched the remake, the more recent ones and stuff. And I like them for what they were. Just just a rather decent slasher film and everything. I just like the trapping, that kind of stuff. And I can't remember which one it was exactly, but when they're at that one guy's dad's beach house or lake house or whatever like that.
Yeah, that's the remake.
Yeah, I like that. That overall section was good in my opinion. I really liked it.
I hate that character. That entire sex scene was weird to watch.
It absolutely was.
That entire sex scene is just.
Didn't they both die in that scene? Right?
No. I think she dies in the shower.
Oh.
He dies by. Because what happens to him? Jason picks him up and puts him on, stabs him on these horns or something that are on back of a truck, and the truck just leaves with him on the back of it. And I'll admit, I think that guy survived, but I hope he didn't because he was an asshole.
Yeah. And so, I think it did a good job of people feeling they're safe, being sort of almost pretty well ambushed, on the boats and everything like that with the arrows. Or was it the dock and the arrows? And it's been a bit of time for it, but I liked it. I just never had the chance. Whereas Halloween and the Screams, those were my bread and butter. When it comes to restarting a franchise, I'd say Halloween did it really well when they decided to go with the Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, where they said, "Hey,
we're in the world, because I think people were so fed up of remakes that everybody now is on a kick for requels."
Yeah, which the Texas Chainsaw made a lot of fun about that.
Yeah, because I think requels now is what it should be, and I don't mind because I was sick of remakes. So the fact that Halloween decided to do a soft reboot where it takes place after the original, but ignores the rest of the films, I think was a good choice.
Yeah.
And how Scream basically made fun of it by having their new films act as requels, but are actually sequels. Yeah. And then I just think they should do the same for Nightmare. I think
they definitely need Nightmare needs.
But with Friday the 13th, we're getting a TV show. I don't know about a movie yet, but I know we are getting a TV show for Friday.
Well, they're gonna call it Camp Crystal Lake.
It's called Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah,
but it makes sense.
And I think the original idea is that it's going to be taking place over a bunch of years, and apparently they do have access to every single iteration of Jason.
That's fantastic. I think it'll do really well because one of my actually favorite American Horror Story ones was the summer camp one. I don't know if you ever watched a lot of the American Horror Stories.
I've watched American Horror Story. I just never got invested as much as other people did. But I did watch the summer camp one.
Yeah, it was such a good I like that one, and that's where I get the kind of same feeling they may take some inspiration, the idea of taking place over different times and stuff. Not the whole all the extra stuff, but I
think what they should have done was tell the story, because we know the story of how Jason was brought up as a kid. We know who his dad is. His dad is called Elias Voorhees.
Elias is a cool name, honestly.
Yeah, his dad's called Elias Voorhees. Because if you played the Friday the 13th game, the tapes, the Pamela tapes, tell you the story of like how Jason was born. His mum was attacked and assaulted, and that's how he was born. And then
so a child of violence kind of.
Yeah, basically, and he the dad was, I think the dad was in the picture for a bit. But yeah, his dad's called Elias Voorhees, and I think the TV show, what they should do is they should tell the story of like Jason's birth. What they could do is tell like the story of Jason's like childhood up to the point where he died.
Yeah.
And then skip, and then what should do is do a time jump after the events of the first Friday, and then just tell us a bit more of like how did Jason actually survive? Where has Jason been this entire time? Because in the remake, that's what really annoyed me by the remake, is that in the beginning of the film, when his mum's killed, he walks out of the woods. You actually see Jason come out of the woods and find his mother's head. And I've sat there like, Jason, why didn't you come out before this?
Yeah.
What? Like, why is this the moment you decide? Why didn't you walk? Because really, this is how that could have gone. Jason walks out, and his mum looks at him like, "Oh, hi, son," and looks at you like, "Mum, why are all these people dead? Like, what? What did you do?"
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he's just watching his mum murder these people, and I'm like, kid, you're alive. Why didn't you walk out and say, "Hi, Mum, I'm alive," instead of no, wait until your mum was beheaded?
Maybe because there's a chance that she might even stop her rampage in a sense if she was like, "Oh, my boy's alive."
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Died, and so she kind of snapped because she lost her child and was like, "All right, now they all go."
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a weird like thing to watch. If you go past that scene in the beginning and get to like the main part of the film, it's good. But that's the only point of the film that really annoys me, is because Jason's just watching his mum murder these people.
Yeah.
Because he's dead. And I'm like, no, why didn't you walk out? Why didn't you say hi? Why did you wait? But yeah, I think we've gone past that time a little. But yeah, everybody, this was the first episode where of the podcast coming back. But I hope everybody did enjoy. Hope everybody doesn't. I hope everybody likes Mori because he's staying. I'm gonna get if I get comments underneath saying, "Oh, this Mori guy sucks." Don't worry, guys. I'll get rid of him. I'm like
that bad movie at it. You know, I'm just going to be like the horror movies that keep coming back. We're like, why did they keep making new ones?
But yeah, don't forget, guys. We'll probably have more than just me and Mori next episode. This was just because Pit couldn't join us today. So we hope you guys did enjoy, and yeah, hopefully next time there'll be more than me and Mori. But everybody, hope you did enjoy. Remember, this podcast is brought to you by the Slasher and Cast Podcast Network and my YouTube channel, Slasher Media. I have been one of your hosts, Slasher.
And, you know, I'm Mori.
That needs work.
It does need work, absolutely.
But yeah, I hope everybody did enjoy, and we will see you all in the next episode. Bye for now.
Don't fall asleep.
Have you checked the children?
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Boogeyman is real, and you found him.
Don't you blame the movies? Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.